It shouldn't come as a surprise that Nicki Minaj is one of the most influential female rappers, the most influential artist in all of music. While Nicki is known for her catchy tunes, iconic bars, one thing that has taken over and put a dark cloud on her legacy was her many rap beefs. And today we're going to go through most of them. Some of those beefs were provoked, some were not provoked, some were understandable, while some showcased bully-like behavior. So let's go through some of Nicki Minaj's famous feuds. When Nicki got her career started in rap, many called her the next Lil Kim, as Nicki has a similar rap style to her. Nicki also stated her biggest influence growing up was Miss Kimberly Jones. Nicki in 2009 to 2011 was high in the mixtape scene and it got labels' attention. It was a high bidding war that Lil Wayne and Young Money won. Why mention all this? Well, seeing a new and up-and-coming female rapper, it got Kim's attention in more ways than one. Instead of embracing a new female rapper, one in which we haven't seen in years to that point, Kim, alongside Ray J, made a comment that seemed shady towards Nicki, accusing Nicki of biting her style.
When Nicki would tell me that I started the beef with them, because I did, just kind of talking on stage, and so she would probably be like, well, you started it. And so I don't know, but I love Nicki, I love Kim. And I would love to see them get together and do something dope.
Nicki kept quiet, but months went by and Minaj recorded and released the song Roman's Revenge. The song sent subliminals toward Kim with lines like, Nicki, she just mad cause you took the spot. Word that, be mad cause I took the spot. Well, B, if you ain't, then get off the pot. Got some N-words out in Brooklyn that'll off your top. The song basically is stating that Nicki is here to take her spot and Lil Kim is a has-been. After the diss made headways, Nicki went on Hot 97 with Angela Martinez to address the situation.
She just really jumped out the window. And you gotta be careful when you pick fights. And that's what I've learned in this business. You just never know. I think people get me mistaken with like a real Barbie. They forget where I'm from. And if I have to revert back, I can and I will. So don't play with me. It's one of those moments when you say, don't play with me. Because I respect you, I love you, I've said it in every interview, time and time again. And if that's not good enough with you, mama, then it's something deep-rooted in you. You need to get something is bothering you inside. That's your insecurity bothering you.
Lil Kim responded with the diss track called Black Friday. Her song used Pharoah Monch's Simon Says sample, as Lil Kim continued to call Nicki a carbon copy of her. Nicki continued to throw shade whenever she gets featured on other artists' tracks. Lil Kim would then release an EP called I Am Not The One, which the EP's goal is to target Nicki Minaj. Like Minaj, she too did an interview, this time on The Breakfast Club, to address her situation with Nicki Minaj.
She wanted to be the only female out there. She wanted to be out there by herself. I'm going to leave this on this note. You will see. Everything in the dark comes to the light. That's all I got to say.
Dropping the clues box.
Nicki would then release Pink Friday, Roman's Revenge in 2011. In the reissue, there was a song called Stupid Hoe, one of the worst songs ever made. While this was another diss track towards Kim, it served more as a troll job and taunt than anything. It was not meant to be taken seriously. Fast forward to 2014, Nicki appeared on the track Flawless by Beyonce. In the featured verse, Nicki branded herself the queen of rap. Kim felt some type of way by this line, and this would leave Kim to plug in her verse on Flawless Freestyle, where she dissed Nicki. Shortly after, Kim released another diss track called Identity Thief. Response to this track was mostly negative, and there was a Twitter campaign called Kim Give It Up. After this, the rivalry mostly cooled down until 2017 when Kim sided with Remy Ma when she dissed Nicki on Sheether. More on that momentarily. But things today has cooled down when Nicki shouted out Kim as one of her influences, and both parties stating that they'll be open to do a future versus. While the first beef was mostly about the music, the next one was focused on live national television. Mariah was still an established face in the music industry. She released Memoirs of an Imperfect Angel in 2009. She had a song called About My Face and recruited Nicki Minaj to be featured in the remix, to which Minaj agreed. The remix was successful in airplay, and they even used Nicki's Barbie persona to her advantage in the video. There was a rumor about Nicki and her entourage being rude towards Mariah during the video shoot, but sources are vague when it comes to that situation. Fast forward to 2011-2012, Mariah had just given birth to a set of twins and was looking for stability. Mariah signed on to do American Idol, a show that was seeing a decline in ratings and needed a boost. The problems began when it was announced that Nicki Minaj was added to the American Idol season. Mariah believed that Minaj did not deserve a spot as a fourth judge on American Idol. This led to an intense season 11. In Charlotte Motor Speedway, American Idol was holding auditions. The whole panel had a disagreement on a hopeful's audition involving her direction in country. An unaired altercation was filmed and leaked to TMZ, and it would be the first of many altercations and subtle jabs that the pair would send. Nicki was stormed off the set, but returned just before the next hopeful audition. In a later interview with Barbara Walters, Mariah revealed that Nicki threatened harm on her with a weapon.
Did you take what she said seriously?
It felt like an unsafe work environment. Anytime anybody's reeling threats at somebody, that's just, it's not appropriate. I mean, I've got 2 babies. I'm not going to take any chances. So yeah, I did hire more security. I just felt it was the appropriate thing to do.
Mariah, being a new mother of twins, took the precaution and hired extra security. Barack Obama, the US president at the time, even weighed in on the rivalry with his comments, and his comments likely leaned towards Mariah's favor.
The commander-in-chief reportedly told a Miami radio show that he's confident Mariah Carey will be able to sort out her reported feud with American Idol co-judge Nicki Minaj. President Obama continued to say he thinks they're both outstanding artists that will make sure they're moving forward, not backwards. Mariah Carey has participated in events for the president in the past, and he tells the radio show she's a wonderful lady. Nicki Minaj has apparently never met Obama, but he does admit she's on his iPod.
For the rest of the season, both ladies would throw shade at each other, like Mariah mentioning her number ones that Nicki hasn't obtained to that point. And some, like her husband Nick Cannon, said that the drama was being egged on by producers as it was proving to be ratings gold. Viewers were more intense in the catty behavior than the competition itself, and I bet any of you can't name who won that season without looking it up. After the season, Nicki and Mariah announced that they will not be returning to American Idol. Mariah remained distant and low to comment on this era. Nicki herself seemed to move on, and she even shouted her out on a positive light when Nicki received the 2002 MTV Vanguard Award.
People who gave me huge opportunities that I'll never forget: Kanye West, Beyonce, Madonna, Mariah Carey, Eminem, Britney Spears, Rihanna.
2010-2011 was Nicki Minaj's breakout year. Pink Friday became the first female rap album to go #1 since Lauryn Hill. In 2012, she was nominated for 5 Grammys, which included Best New Artist. Capitalizing on the rise, the Grammys wanted her to perform on their ceremony, which she agreed to. It should be noted that her first ever nomination came as a featured artist on Ludacris's My Chick Bad song. Her performance was highly anticipated. CBS promoted her appearance on various commercials.
Who I love.
This is really exciting for me because, I've been listening to you since I was a baby.
I love you less now.
It's music's.
Then, on February 12, 2012, the day before the Grammys was set to air live, icon Whitney Houston passed away, and this put the Grammys in a pickle as they're going to be the first award show to lead tributes to Houston. Similar to what the 2009 BET Awards did for Michael Jackson when he passed, the Grammys decided to shift their show to make room for tributes. The Grammys approached Nicki Minaj to remove her performance to make room for the tributes, but she refused. Grammy put forth time and effort in promoting Nicki Minaj's performance, and Nicki did not want to disappoint her fans in backing down. Her performance featured her alter ego, Roman, and it started with her performance to Roman's Revenge. After this, she cuts off to show experts of the exorcism of Roman, and after this, it shifted to Roman Holiday with Nicki being chained. Her performance sparked criticism from the Catholic Church, and this leads us to Best New Artist, an award in which Bon Iver won. Many were surprised as Iver wasn't a big mega superstar like Minaj is. Some fans thought Nicki's name was on the ballot, but after refusing to back down from her performance, she was replaced by Bon Iver. Nicki has stated that she's been blackballed by the Grammys. She hasn't won a Grammy, and in later years when female rappers were on the rise, her peers like Cardi B, Megan Thee Stallion, Doja Cat, and Doechii all have Grammys to their names. In fact, Nicki has endured more issue with the Grammys. In 2023, she was set to submit Super Freaky Girls for the rap categories in that year's Grammys, and it will be her first submission since 2016 Pink Print era. The Grammys ruled that her song Super Freaky Girl was ineligible for the rap categories, but instead eligible for the pop categories, and this will cause stir with another female rapper later on. But she did see 2 nominations in 2024 for Barbie World, which she obviously lost after fans thought she had won. In 2025, Pink Friday 2 was snubbed and Nicki once again wasn't nominated. Nicki Minaj, by far the biggest female rapper in the 2010s, has 0 Grammys to her name. Iggy Azalea was an upcoming female rapper from Australia. Iggy's rise to hip-hop was very controversial. Again, from Australia, Iggy moved to Los Angeles to start her hip-hop career. She put out a song, let's call it the P Word, and that song got her noticed by southern rapper T.I., who later signed Iggy to Grand Hustle. Fast forward to 2014, Iggy performed at the BET Awards, performing the song Mediocre before transitioning to Fancy. Nicki too performed as she performed Pills and Potions, the lead-off single for her next album, The Pink Print. That night, Nicki won her 5th straight Best Female Hip-Hop Artist, an award that was a meme at the time. And Nicki made a sly comment about authenticity that she writes her rhymes.
Point is, what I want the world to know about Nicki Minaj is when you hear Nicki Minaj spit, Nicki Minaj wrote it.
Many put 2 and 2 together, and fans figure out that Nicki was referring to Iggy Azalea, as Nicki might have believed that Iggy, again from Australia, was faking a southern accent for clout. Later that year, Fancy, featuring Charlie XCX, goes #1, becoming the first female rapper to achieve this since Lil Kim in 2001. She actually occupied the top 2, which is the first female rapper to ever achieve this, as she was featured on Problem with Nicki's bestie Ariana Grande. This was the first beef that highlighted Nicki's insecurity, and certainly not her last. Iggy was the first female rapper this decade to challenge Nicki's throne on top female rapper, but at the same time, according to Iggy Azalea herself, the beef was more fan-driven and media-driven than actual problems. Yes, Nicki Minaj beefed with the biggest pop star of our generation. This one stemmed from the 2015 VMAs. As the summer was winding down, the VMAs released their nominations. Taylor led all nominees with 10 nominations, while Nicki Minaj only received 2 nominations, which were Best Female Video and Best Hip Hop Video, both for Anaconda. Nicki was not pleased as she only received 2 nominations, let alone not receiving the big Video of the Year nomination. Nicki went on a tweet storm calling out the VMAs for not nominating black artists for the bigger awards, or other women that deserved the nomination more. Taylor took the bait and tweeted calling out Nicki for not being a girl's girl and saying that one of the men took her nomination spots instead. Nicki denies tweeting about Taylor, but the back and forth continued until Taylor backed down. Not before Ed Sheeran, Bruno Mars, and Katy Perry chimed in on the Twitter spat, with the latter calling out Swift for too not being a girl's girl. Taylor winded up apologizing for the misunderstanding, to which Nicki accepted. To make things up, the pair performed together at the 2015 VMA's opening number. Taylor will win her first of many Video of the Year wins with Bad Blood. But speaking of the 2015 VMAs, in 2013, Miley Cyrus was in her hood music bangers era. Miley teamed up with Mike Will Made It for this project, and he was known for being the main producer for Nicki Minaj. Cyrus in an interview stated that people were trying to brand her as the white Nicki Minaj, but Miley didn't want that, as at the end of the day, she's a singer first. Fast forward to 2014, Miley congratulated Nicki as Anaconda became the highest viewed video within 24 hours, surpassing Wrecking Ball. They even sat next to each other at the 2015 Grammys. Then the 2015 VMA nods came out, which we already discussed, but Miley chimed in a later interview with the New York Times. The 2015 VMA hostee called out Minaj's behavior, stating that it wasn't kind and called her out as jealous. And this leads us to the main event, the 2015 VMA Awards. Nicki won Best Hip Hop Video for Anaconda, gave her thanks, but after the speech, she pivoted towards Miley saying, "What's good?"
Back to this that had a lot to say about me the other day in the press. Miley, what's good?
Hey, we're all in this industry. We all do interviews, and we all know how they manipulate. Nicki, congratulations.
But after this, things remained cordial amongst the women. That was until 2019. Miley released an EP, She Is Coming, and on the song Catitude, she states while she loves Nicki, she listens to Cardi B. Nicki responded on her Queen radio, stating that Miley performed favors on Mike Will to change her image.
In the first place, she disrespected me in a magazine article for no reason. I had just seen her after she was sucking Mike Will in the studio. Like, you sucked all that, you sucked all that, only to come out looking like a purge chicken on the stage, and then got mad and went back to country music. So stupid ass.
The two rarely speak about, let alone to each other, to this very day. This beef was more of a broken relationship than anything. The pair had dated in 2015, toured together on Nicki's Pink Print tour, and was featured on the Pink Print album on the song Big Daddy. They started off as friends, became official by year's end. They spent the next 2 years being in love, but things took a turn when Meek Mill posted a now deleted Photoshop picture of Nicki Minaj pregnant, and Nicki did not take that fondly. She tweeted, "Back on the prowl." Meek Mill had an IG crash out saying, "When it's going down, these N-words nowhere to be found. Most of these N-words be so temporary. Bees be so temporary." Meek then deleted his Instagram shortly after. In 2017, Nicki confirmed the breakup. Meek too confirmed this as he posted a picture of white shoes saying, "If you walk out, don't wear these, they whack." Nicki threw hints that Meek was controlling, he didn't support her, and overall, it was a draining experience. The music came in when Nicki sent a subliminal on the song Regret in Your Tears, which shines a light on the breakup. On the song Barbie Teens, she had lines that implied that she kept quiet to avoid hurting Meek's career, thus she had to protect him. But the most notable subliminal was on the song Barbie Dreams. She stated Meek still be in her DMs, which could imply that Meek still had feelings for her and wanted her back. Meek made some statements saying Nicki wasn't over him, which is why she kept sending shots towards him. He also countered saying that Nicki was just as toxic as he was and was attacked by the bars, even though Nicki never called him out publicly. He states in Cold Hearted 2, where he obviously didn't mention Nicki by name, but might have implied that she was jealous and that she was supposed to be his ride or die. Meek will lay dormant in late 2017-2018 when he went to jail for violating his probation, but got out on appeal. About a year later, he ran into Nicki and her new man, Mr. Petty, and the two got into a heated shouting match at a retail store. In 2020, they got into a heated Twitter feud. Nicki tweeted, "You beat your own sister and taped it, spit on her and taped it, kicked me in front of your mother and sent her to the hospital. Sucking Drake's D make you feel tough again. Move on. N-word been tweeting about my man for a year now. Talk about he went to my page to see him but he was blocked. My N-word. Move on. I know you be embarrassed yourself in that store when you got pressed though." Meek Mill responded, "The only way you try to kill my career is to say I beat women. Talk about your brother convicted of R-word and you been new and paid for his lawyer. Your little brother touched that little girl too. You know I know. You want me to crash with your boyfriend and I won't." He continues, "You sad you willing to crash your man because you losing now and everybody in the industry know you're a bad person. You been new, your brother was R-wording that little girl. That's why I got away from you. And for For clarification, I don't hit women. I don't let my interviews be filled with questions about her or any situation to do with her. When I come out to do press for my new album, no devil tricks. After this, the two went their separate ways with their personal relationships. The one beef Nicki struggled with. You think this beef started in 2017, but it started a decade earlier. Back in 2007, when Nicki Minaj was in her mixtape game, she seemed to diss Remy Ma by telling her to run the crowd like Chris Brown, all while sampling a Terror Squad song, Yeah Yeah Yeah. Remy didn't have time to respond as she was in jail for assault, illegal weapon possession, and attempted coercion. Remy was sentenced to 7 years but served 6, getting out in 2014. But once out, Remy did an interview with Hot 97 where she praised Minaj for pushing female rap in a male-dominant genre and had zero plans on tearing her down. Because Remy been in jail for 6 years, she had to refine her skills. To do this, she will drop freestyles. Most freestyles will use Nicki Minaj instrumentals, but will not send shots towards Nicki. The two seemed cool and respected each other, so when did it all change? Remy did a freestyle with Papoose and Funkmaster Flex while rapping over Nas's New York State of Mind. Remy dropped the lines, "See your whole style, bitten, pieces ain't hitting. When I said it was written, I was talking about y'all bees. Y'all try to play chess, but why would I play you when I could knock the whole effing board off the table?" Nicki responded by saying, "All this talk about bees, son, and I'm not, your whole world revolves around me. B, I am the sun." Remy was featured on Fresher's song Wait a Minute remix, again sent a subliminal stating, "Will I smoke this bee? Yes. Probably fail my piss test. Get rid of those fake breasts and put a vest on this bee's chest." Then on the same song, she pointed out alleging that Nicki has ghostwriters. Remy was pressed about this issue on The Breakfast Club, stating that if she calls you out, she's using your government name and let it be known that she was talking about you. Nicki finally responded to her on Jason Derulo's song Swallow, where she says, "I gave these bees 2 years, now your time's up." Bless her heart, she's throwing shots, but every line sucks. But on Gucci Mane's Make Love, the shots were more direct, where she says, "In order to be the queen of rap, you have to sell records." This is when Remy unleashes Sheether. Obviously the song used the Nas infamous Ether sample, and in the song she calls out Nicki directly about her plastic surgery, having a ghostwriter, her narrative about being the queen of rap, airing out her past beefs with Lil Kim, Mariah, Miley, and Taylor Swift, and how Nicki used favors to get to the level of acclaim. But she lived up to her promise. She called out Onika by her name. The streets overall received this very well, but Remy wasn't done. Almost within 24 hours, she dropped another one, and let's be real, that song was not needed. That song's goal was to apply pressure on Nicki and to pour salt on the wound. Remy decided to emulate Drake's flow on his diss track back to back. Nicki finally responded with the song No Frauds. Nicki stated that Remy is a hypocrite for calling her out on plastic surgery, prison time, and using the rap beef to stay relevant, and Nicki flexing on her industry power. And that last part was true when No Frauds charted at number 14 on the Hot 100, while Sheether and another one failed to do so. Many felt like Nicki didn't win because she spent the majority of the song talking about herself and not her opponent, also using Drake and Lil Wayne, who added very little to the song. At the 2017 BET Awards, Remy Ma ended Nicki Minaj's 8-year winning streak by winning Best Female Hip Hop Artist. In recent interviews, Remy states that she is not proud of dropping Sheether, but doesn't regret it, as she's all about female hip hop unity. Another one is Scrubbed and not found on YouTube, only found in reaction videos. In all, no winners in this one. Remy poked the bear for a response, using the diss to boost her career, and Nicki didn't provoke her either. But at the same time, Nicki responded with No Frauds, which is a weak tune, but not her worst diss track. And we'll get into that in a bit. This is the part of the presentation everyone is looking forward to. In order to understand this rivalry, we have to figure out who Cardi B even is. Cardi B was a former stripper turned reality TV star when she was on the show Love & Hip Hop New York. She quickly rose to fame on said show thanks to her one-liners. In 2016, she left the show to pursue music full-time. Cardi dropped 2 mixtapes before getting signed to Atlantic. In 2017 would be Cardi's breakout year when she released the song Bodak Yellow. Bodak Yellow was a record breaker, the longest running female #1 rap song, the fastest female rap video to get to 1 billion views, and that surpassed Anaconda. And it should be noted, Nicki still haven't gotten a #1 hit to that point. But Nicki became a good sport and tweeted her congrats on the rising artist. With Cardi's rise, many started pitting her as the next Nicki Minaj. Others saying Cardi has already surpassed Nicki with just 1 hit. Stan wars began to pit the women against each other, but the ladies denied any beef. Then Nicki did something she rarely has done to this point, collab with a fellow female rapper, and she did so on the Migos song Motorsports. One thing of note was that Cardi started to date Migos member Offset, and rumors stated that she got on the song because of him, but it was actually Quavo that co-signed Cardi to hop on the song. When the women verses came out, fans thought they were dissing each other, but both had to deny those claims. In the video, both women shot their scenes in different days, adding on to the beef rumors. Nicki refutes, stating that her hairstylist wasn't available for the day of the shoot. Motorsports accumulated 732 million views as of January 2026, and the song reached the top 10 on the Hot 100. In the spring of 2018, Cardi released her debut album Invasion of Privacy, which goes #1 on the Billboard 200. She did an interview with Beats One stating that the beef with Minaj was made up, as fans like to see artists beef with each other. Meanwhile, Nicki started to gear up for her album Queen by releasing 2 singles, Chun-Li and Barbie Tings. Nicki did an interview with Zane Lowe on Beats One, and this will be the first time she'll address Cardi in a negative light. She stated, and paraphrasing, that Cardi lied about hearing Nicki's verse, which prompted her to change said verse. She also said Cardi never showed her genuine love in interviews after Motorsports came out. On the same day that interview came out, Nicki's original verse was leaked, which Nicki stated she changed her verse per Atlantic's request. And this leads us to the Met Gala. The two were face to face and things were fine. While things got tense, they were able to talk things out and the ladies went their way. In August, Queen was released. On the album, Nicki had a song called Ganja Burns, which fans thought was a diss track aimed at Cardi B, as Nicki called out rappers for having ghostwriters. And if you don't know, Cardi rarely writes her own bars. The next month, all hell broke loose on New York Fashion Week. Almost a year after Motorsports, a year full of sneak dissing, shady interviews, the two attempted a physical fight at the event. Sources differ on what led to the altercation, but Cardi went to Nicki's table and entourage to address the lies Nicki was spreading about her. This led security to elbow Cardi in the face, which gave her a knot. Cardi ended up throwing a shoe in Nicki's direction. Security will end up escorting Cardi out of the event. Shortly after, Cardi went on IG to address what went down, saying, "I've let a lot of things slide. I let you sneak diss me. I let you lie on me. I let you attempt to stop my bags, mess up the way I eat." Cardi wrote, "You threatened other artists in the industry, told them if they work with me, you'll start messing with them. I let you talk big smack about me." A few days later, Nicki went on her Queen radio show to address the incident. She started off the show playing a clip of Cardi B saying nothing is off limits when it comes to clapping back. The reason for this intro was that Cardi claimed Nicki blabbed about her parenting skills involving her daughter Culture, claiming hypocrisy. Nicki then goes on and said Cardi built her career on payola and sympathy, then stated that Cardi was going through postpartum depression, which he might have been. A month later, on Queen Radio, Nicki addressed New York fashion again. That's where Nicki states her friend Ra Ali beat up Cardi B and denied that she leaked Cardi's phone number so the Barbs could send her death threats. That claim was stated by Cardi's sister Hennessy. The next day, Cardi fired back with a barrage of Instagram posts. Cardi stated she didn't get beat up by Ra Ali, countered with the payola allegations stating that money was doing fine on iTunes before getting shipped to radio, stated that Nicki leaked her phone number to her fans, then states that she endorsed the Barb's negative behavior towards her. In 2019, Cardi became the second female rapper to win Best Rap Album for Invasion of Privacy. Fans will pick on Nicki Minaj, stating that Cardi has a Grammy while Nicki doesn't. Heading into the 2020s, Nicki spends her first few years laying low, while Cardi would drip feed singles. Proxy wars were beginning. If any rapper worked with Cardi B, they'll have beef with Nicki Minaj and any of her affiliates. Not going to go through them in this section because some of the ladies will be mentioned later on. In 2025, Cardi released the song Imaginary Players. Cardi sends shots toward Nicki stating, "Stripped like Tom Brown, these bees will calm down." That's because Nicki wore Tom Brown fashion at the Met Gala that same year. Next month, Cardi released her long-awaited second album, Am I the Drama? While it debuted at number 1 on the 200, Nicki mocked her, boasting about her album sales. And Nicki and Cardi will go at it on Twitter. Again, it's a lot. It's exhausting. Let's just say it went from Nicki obsessing over Cardi B's second album week sales, when Nicki's Pink Friday 2 moved 100k units second week during the holiday period, to both women going for low blows, mentioning Nicki's fertility issues, drug use, family stuff. Both women were losing the plot at this point. To close this long portion of this presentation, Cardi wrote a long post addressing Nicki. Dear Onika Tanya Mirage, this is my last time responding to you because it's past Twitter now. I gotta see you, but first I'ma tell you the truth. You said out your own mouth that the little girl in you haven't forgave your mother yet, and that's because your mom used to stay silent when your dad used to touch on you every time he did that crack pipe. I know you experienced a lot of trauma and abuse, but drugs is not gonna help you. You need to go to therapy now. I'ma let you know this today. Your husband is not stopping you from your actions because he let you do drugs all day to numb you so he can max out your credit cards. Yeah, you think I don't know? Them queen N-words that you be letting in your house every time you kick them out be coming and spilling your tea in the hood. But I'm gonna be the realest person to tell you, you need to get help. You need to heal that trauma. You're always coming at people every time you see them happy because you got so much trauma and pain that you want to put on others. Your fans are going to gas you up while you literally lose your damn mind. You don't have no friends, no family, just that man in your house that let you do drugs till you pass out so he can spend your money and buy hood chains. I'm not throwing away my career and my endorsements going back and forth with words with a possessed drug addict. I'll see you when I see you. Love, Cardi B. Oh, Carter. Next beef should be a lot easier to handle. In August 2018, Nicki released her fourth album, Queen. The week before, Travis Scott released Astro World. Astro World sold 567,000 units first week. The two hip-hop titans were set to compete for the number 1 spot on the Billboard 200. In the end, Astro World held the number 1 while Queen debuted at number 2. Travis Scott used merch to help him maintain the top position, and Nicki called out this practice on her Queen radio, stating that Travis manipulated the Billboard 200 to stay on top. She then calls out Kylie Jenner for using her platform to promote Astro World. Nicki came off as a sore loser, and Charlamagne the God gave her the dubious honor of Donkey of the Day for her crash out. Years later, having nothing to do with Nicki, but a Nicki Minaj fan named Sabrina Carpenter released an album, Short and Sweet. And that same day, Travis Scott re-released Days Before Rodeo mixtape with physical sales. Sabrina beat out Travis Scott for the number 1, barely, but weeks later, Travis took the number 1 with similar practices. Travis Scott never addressed Nicki Minaj nor his sale tactics. For those of you who don't know, Kash Doll is a female lyricist from Detroit, Michigan. She spent the most of the 2010s rising in the rap game when she started to post her music on social media. An opportunity came when Drake invited her to open for him during his Summer 16 tour. She started to release mixtapes, and by 2018, she signed with Republic Records. The origins of this beef started with a conflict with Cardi B. In 2017, Cardi received an award in Detroit called the Spirit of Detroit. For one, Cardi isn't from Detroit. That wasn't the only issue she had with Cardi. Rapper YG had a song called She Bad and was going to put Kash Doll and Breezy on it, but he wound up selling the feature to Cardi B. In 2019, she decided to let the world know that she doesn't have any problems with Cardi B. They linked up in a club setting to ensure everyone that there's no conflict between the women. And this is where Nicki finally comes in, more so the Barbs. After spotting the photo, the Barbs did their detective work and found out that Kash Doll unfollowed Nicki. The Barbs thought that Kash Doll unfollowed Nicki because of her newfound affiliation with Cardi B. But that wasn't the reason. Turned out Nicki DM'd Kash Doll, and the context of the DMs were never revealed. But what is known is that Kash thought Nicki's behavior was not good, and that led her to the unfollow. Word got back years later that a Barb hacked Kash Doll's IG, and the Barb Instead, Barb offered Kash Doll $5,000 to get it back. For any solace, Kash Doll's fan names is the Brats, while Nicki's is the Barbs, and the two doll companies have been competing against each other for decades. One more thing, Nicki tried to become peacemaker when Kash Doll was having an issue with Asian Doll by inviting both parties to Nicki's Queen Radio. Then the issue boiled down to the Barbs, then with Nicki herself. The Barbs, as mentioned many times in this presentation, will go to the death to defend their queen. Kash Doll have since moved on to focus on her rap/acting career, then engage in petty beef. In 2020, Little Mix was gearing up for their 6th album, Confetti. As the release date was getting closer to the November date, member Jessie Nelson started to disappear, citing mental issues, and this left members Perry, Jade, and Leanne to carry the group's promotion. 1 month after Confetti was released, Jessie Nelson announced her departure from Little Mix, citing mental and physical issues, and Little Mix continued on as a trio. Fast forward to October 2021, Little Mix was idle due to the pregnancies of Perry and Leanne. Jessie decided to launch her solo career by releasing her debut single, Boys. The song sampled P. Diddy's Bad Boys for Life, and it featured Nicki Minaj. In the video, Jessie showcased a different urban image that was a far cry from what she did with Little Mix, but the big criticism was that there were blackfishing allegations. After the song was released, both Jessie and Nicki would go on live and have a discussion. This was a response to Leanne allegedly DMing No Hun, a TikToker from Birmingham, to make a video about Jessie's blackfishing. At first, Minaj gave Jessie words of encouragement for her fledgling solo career. Then Nicki started to throw shade towards Little Mix. Even though Nicki never mentions names, most of the shade was aimed towards Leanne. At one point during the live, Nicki called Leanne a clown, while Jessie stayed silent. Fans called out Jessie for her behavior, given that she threw away a decade-long relationship for an IG live.
Now, in my opinion, if I was rocking with you for 10 years and there was something so horrible about you, and I kept on doing business with you and getting money with you and that for 10 years, and then as soon as we part ways, I'm like texting people, telling people to bring negative about you. Immediately, that person has to wear a big red clown nose and a pair of big red clown boots, because you're a clown.
Leanne never officially responded to Nicki Minaj, but spoke about the incident at her 30th birthday party. But Little Mix didn't last long after the incident. The group went on hiatus the next year, and Jessie's solo career would flounder. But Leanne and the other members did make peace with Jessie when Jessie was dealing with personal issues during childbirth. Normani was part of a girl group known as Fifth Harmony, but by 2018, the girls gone their separate ways to embark in solo endeavors. At the 2018 VMAs, Tiffany Haddish took a dig at Fifth Harmony after former member Camila Cabello was winning awards. Nicki, after winning Best Hip Hop Video, defended Normani, letting her know that she's legit.
And Tiff, don't be coming for Fifth Harmony because Normani is that.
They even teamed up with Ariana Grande on the Charlie Angels song Bad to You, but by 2021, the two unfollowed each other on social media. And if you guessed teaming up with Cardi B on the song Wild Side, you'll be correct. I already mentioned most of that beef earlier, but the Barbs will attack Normani online and Nicki didn't do anything to stop it. And that's pretty much it, all because of Wild Side. This is the one beef where Nicki did not provoke. For context, City Girls are a female rap duo from Florida. They broke through in 2018 when they were featured on the Drake song In My Feelings, but just when this moment was happening, JT was sent to prison on credit card fraud. This meant Young Miami had to carry the torch for the next 2 years. During this time, she got the opportunity to collab with Cardi B on the song Twerk. But while JT was in prison, several leaks landed on social media where JT seemingly dissed Nicki Minaj for no reason.
Read like Nicki like his Frank Nicki can't rip no beat. That ain't even in the street. She been with me, but she got dropped like some grocery. I'm gon' fuck with Nicki. I don't care. I'm beefing with Nicki, but I ain't no Remy. I got that Remy in my house, and you know I got plenty. This ain't Brazilian, bitch. This that upscale shit. I got your nigga, and he love it cause I'm that.
And later, Young Miami was asked where she stands with it.
Your label mate QC, he said he wouldn't work with Nicki because of the beef with Cardi. So would you work with Nicki?
I just rather stay away from that question. Like, I don't want to get into that. But I am Team Cardi. City Girls is Team Cardi. Cardi support the City Girls.
So you'd fight for Cardi, basically?
Yeah, I love Cardi. I'm Team Barty.
Word.
Period.
Some years later, around 2021, City Girls did a partial campaign to get a collab with Nicki Minaj, but Nicki shot it down because of things they said about her earlier. But literally the next day, Nicki made a tweet saying she had a great conversation with Young Miami and JT. Young Miami retweeted Queen Teens, with JT retweeting with Sag Sister. Thank you for your time and your advice. True Queen, love you. Although City Girls and Nicki would never collab, they caught Nicki in a forgiving mood, and Minaj did not have to do that, but she did. Maybe she matured. In the early 2020s, a female rapper named Latto was on the come up. She was a rapper who got her start on the reality TV show The Rap Game, going by the moniker Miss Mulatto, as she's a mixed race. One thing that should be mentioned is that Latto's biggest influence growing up was Nicki Minaj. Some of it had to do with the lack of female representation in the genre throughout the 2010s. Latto got into some controversy of her name, hence why she shortened it in 2021, but she became an artist on the rise when she dropped Big Energy. By the time 2022 came, Big Energy became one of the biggest songs that year, going number 3 on the Hot 100. Toward the end of the summer, Nicki dropped the song Super Freaky Girl, a song that debuted at the number 1 spot on the Hot 100, Nicki Minaj's first solo number 1. A few months later, artists would start making submissions for the 2023 Grammys. Minaj, who was still Grammyless, wanted to submit Super Freaky Girl to the rap categories. However, the Grammys told her that her song Super Freaky Girl sounded more pop, thus she had to submit in the pop categories. She went to Twitter and said if Super Freaky Girl had to be moved to the pop categories, so does Big Energy. Latto took the bait and responded saying she can't celebrate her nominations without someone hating, paraphrasing. Nicki then called Latto a Karen, then scratch off, and afterwards more back and forth tweets continued. Latto then called Nicki a 40-year-old bully, a super freaky grandma, before sending shots toward her husband, Mr. Petty, for being an offender. Nicki calls Latto a hypocrite as she worked with Dr. Luke while questioning why come for her when she didn't come for Kodak Black, a rapper and offender who dissed Latto weeks earlier. Latto will go on to be nominated for Best Melodic Performance for Big Energy Live, while Minaj was snubbed from the ceremony altogether. In 2023, at Coachella, Latto premiered a song called Put It On The Floor. Fans suspected that Latto was sending shots towards Nicki, where there are lines about ducking smoke and the closing lines mentioning the subtweets. Suspects increased when Latto released Put It On The Floor again, and that featured Cardi B. In 2025, Latto did an interview with Andy Cohen, and he asked if there's a chance she could patch things up with Nicki, since Latto was able to squash her beef with Ice Spice. Latto responded with, "Rekindling with anybody." Another guest said that we love Nicki, and Latto said, "I did too." This beef was the definition on how an idol became a rival. The one beef that caused Nicki's head to spin. Like most beefs, it started off cordial before becoming ugly. But if you don't know, Megan Thee Stallion is a rapper from Houston, Texas who broke out in 2019 thanks to the song Big Ol' Freak. But in the summer of that same year, Megan started to work on the song Hot Girl Summer. The term Hot Girl Summer was coined by Megan, as she had this to say: "Hot Girl Summer is basically just about women and men just being unapologetically them, just having a good ass time." With the song nearing completion, Megan went on IG Live with Nicki Minaj and asked if she could feature on the song. Nicki said, "Send me the beat and I'll get on it." Nicki, in fact, sent her verse that night despite almost losing her voice. Hot Girl Summer was released later that week and debuted at number 11 on the Hot 100. 5 months in, Megan won Best Power Anthem at the 2019 VMAs, her first award show victory. The next year, Megan teamed up with Cardi B on the song WAP, which stands for, yeah. The song became a record breaker, highest debut for a female rap collab, biggest streaming debut for any female collab. Despite teaming up with someone whom Nicki already beefed with, Nicki showed love. Most of the praise was for Megan going back to college to get her degree, but it was praise nonetheless. But in early 2021, Nicki unfollowed Megan on social media and vice versa. Early that year, Nicki re-released her Beamin' Up Scotty mixtape, and it featured a song called Seeing Green. In the song, she said this in possible regard towards Megan: "One margarita pizza with parmesan and garlic. These bees thirsty, I can see why they're alcoholics." Nicki implied that Megan is an alcoholic. She recalled that Megan forced her to drink alcohol while pregnant with her son. Also on the same Queen radio, she said Megan never congratulated her on her pregnancy nor the birth of her son. Megan denies forcing Nicki to drink. In 2023, Nicki sent more shots towards Megan again on the song Red Ruby the Sleeves. Lines include 700 on them horses, we fix it to leave, but I don't F with horses since Christopher Reeves. And Dorito B's mad that they're nachos. That Doritos line was in regard to Megan's Super Bowl campaign for the company. And later that year, Megan again teamed up with Cardi B on the song Bongos. The ladies performed the song at the 2023 VMAs, a show Nicki was hosting. Cardi, Megan, and Nicki did not interact with each other during the show. In January 2024, Megan dropped the song Hiss. This was a To Whom It May Concern, targets with most of it aimed towards Drake, DaBaby, Tory Lanez, and her former boyfriend. But the biggest jabs were aimed at Nicki Minaj. These hoes don't be mad at Megan, these hoes mad at Megan's Law. I don't really know what the problem is, but I guarantee y'all want me to start. B, you a P, never finna check me. Every chance you get, bet your weak ass won't address me. And that Megan's Law line was aimed at Mr. Petty, who, again, is an offender. She also said that Nicki doesn't have an excuse not to like her. After the diss was released, Nicki crashed out. She went on IG Live, tells Megan that she can't stay on beat, then teases her response track towards Megan called Bigfoot. Nicki released Bigfoot that Monday. She planned on releasing ASAP, but Nicki couldn't get clearance on the original beat. Most of Nicki's lines involve that Megan has big feet, that she sleeps around, which Megan admits to in many instances so the line doesn't hit. And the biggest one of all was that Megan lied on her dead mom about getting shot by Tory Lanez. In the end, she go full ASMR, basically rambling about how she has other songs in the lab that goes off harder than Bigfoot. That's literally half the song. The song was negatively received by critics and fans, even from the Barbs, with some calling it the worst diss track ever made. A lot of people called out Nicki for her bullying behavior, and they sided with Megan. And to pour salt on the wound on the part of Nicki, several Barbs, in denial, vandalized the grave of Megan's dead relative, and Nicki did nothing. Thanks to the drama, Hiss was able to debut at number 1 on the Hot 100, while Bigfoot debuted at number 23, granted with partial tracking. And this next part has nothing to do with the beef, but Nicki co-signed the song Facts by Tom MacDonald, aka the biggest independent rapper according to him, and Ben Shapiro, and that debuted at number 16 on the Hot 100. And here's the thing, when Bigfoot actually got the full week of tracking, Hiss only fell to 11, while Bigfoot and Facts fell off the charts entirely. And the best part about all of this, Megan did not respond to Nicki's crash out because Nicki was destroying herself from within. Later that year, Megan released her self-titled third album. She threw shots towards Nicki on the songs like Figueroa, where Megan pledges allegiance to Charlie XCX, saying that she's a brat, not a Barbie, or on the song Rattle, where Megan says, "Damn B, it's been 4 years, worry about your man and your kid, your life must be boring as F if you're still reminiscing about the things we did." The next year, Megan appeared to troll Nicki by having some of her dancers dress up as Bigfoot at Coachella. And to this day, Megan still doesn't know why Nicki doesn't like her, but she clearly took the W in this beef. In 2023, Ice Spice had her breakthrough, most of it because of the song Much going viral. Ice was getting a bunch of cosigns in the industry, but she got 2 big ones, one from Taylor Swift and the other from Nicki Minaj. When Ice re-released her EP, it featured a remix of Princess Diana, a song that debuted in the top 10. Ice returned to favor when she was featured on the song Barbie World for the Barbie movie soundtrack. Things seemed to be on the right track with Nicki and Ice Spice. Then mid-2024 happened, just when Ice Spice was gearing up to release her debut album. An artist and former friend named Baby Storm exposed Ice Spice and some of the text messages they had. In those messages, Ice Spice called Nicki ungrateful and jealous. In fact, those messages, she told Baby Storm that Barbie World song was only intended for Ice Spice alone, but she put Nicki on and made Nicki the lead artist since, well, that's her persona. Ice Spice did not deny the messages, but she said she was frustrated. Apparently, Nicki wanted Ice Spice to sign with her label and take her publishing, but Ice, realizing that's a bad deal, turned it down. What those messages did to Ice Spice was that she came off as shady. She'll say one thing to your face, then go behind your back and say something else. Nicki unfollowed Ice Spice following this instance, and many barbs who co-signed Ice Spice pretty much left her fan base, and it might have caused Ice Spice's debut album to underperform. Ice Spice lost this beef, and today it seems that she's yet to recover from it. It shouldn't be debated that SZA is one of, if not the most successful R&B artist of the 2020s, especially given that SOS had become a diamond-selling album. But this beef did not start off with SZA. Instead, Nicki was having a conflict with Punch, SZA's former manager from TDE, in which he accused of bullying Minaj on Twitter, or X. Turns out Nicki attempted to get SZA on a song in 2020 called Don't Do, but the opportunity fell through after the singer declined. And Nicki said, "So glad I got proof of being bullied and being lied on by a man publicly on a platform that I use for my job." After I rejected his business proposition on more than one occasion, he failed to disclose to the public that I've rejected his business propositions and thereby acted in what appears to be retaliation purposely used to cause financial damages and to engage a smear campaign against the brand. SZA then posted a cryptic message, "Mercury retrograde. Don't take the bait, lol, silly goose." The tweet wasn't directed towards Nicki, but accused SZA of subtweeting her, where she calls her ugly and saying that her vocals sound like she got stung by a bee. After making fun of her appearance, Nicki went on and talked about how SOS needed 2 versions to break 2 records. And Nicki continued to brag about her stats, saying that she'll never be an icon like she is. SZA, in her typical unbothered mood, posted one final tweet, "Let me go back to being shy and meek. Y'all have a blessed night. See you tomorrow for night 2 in Paris." Months later, SZA was asked about Nicki Minaj, and she had this to say, "I don't know her. We don't have no connection to each other. There's no backstory, like, there's no thorough line narrative. It was just like, Roc Nation. I don't know where it came from. That's not even my place to correct a narrative that I don't have to do with. It's a little strange. It was like, why? But also, you know, I guess. In other words, SZA had moved on." For those of you who don't know, Dez Bryant is a former wide receiver for the Dallas Cowboys. He had a near all-pro run between the years 2012 and 2016 before injuries and age ended his playing career. During his playing career, Dez signed with Roc Nation Sports for his contract negotiations, and we'll talk more about Nicki and Roc Nation in a bit. Fast forward to 2025, Dez's playing career was long over, but Dez noticed that linebacker Micah Parsons' contract extensions has stalled out with as owner Jerry Jones liked to negotiate with the players themselves, not with agents or an agency. Dez took to X and basically relate to Micah's situation, saying that it's difficult to negotiate with the billionaire owner of one of the richest sports franchises in the world. So how does Nicki get involved? Well, Nicki saw Dez tweets as she has her own issues with Roc Nation. She invited Dez to play a storytime game as she's willing to listen to all the shady things Jerry Jones had, as long as Dez listens to her stories involving Roc Nation. But that's what smoke Dez did not want. He posted a video stating that he doesn't want problems, he's a huge fan. That led to Nicki mentioning Dez's 2012 arrest when he allegedly assaulted his mother. Dez responded by saying he never went to jail nor struck his mother. Bryant then brings up Mr. Petty being an offender, that card again. Nicki then says, "Since you like beating your mom, I'll offer you $10 million to fight my husband." Dez then closed saying that he was taking a high road in detailing his past. Also mentioning that Minaj had zero reason on why she inserted herself in a situation that has nothing to do with her. But long story short, both parties ended up apologizing, but Dez still wanted to fight her husband. The next part of this presentation involves politic discussions. Politics is a sin on this platform, so if this is a subject matter that makes you uncomfortable, you can skip to this timestamp to the final section. But to start this portion of the video, let's define the word grift. The word grift means engaging in petty or small-scale swindling. This word is often thrown around in politics for people who basically saying, alright, I'll endorse this candidate, but what's in it for me? This gets mentioned because Nicki may fall in this category. Nicki's political beliefs have been under question throughout her career. It has been confirmed that she supported Barack Obama in the early 2010s, and in 2016, during one of her shows, she dissed Melania Trump.
Needed a Michelle. Bill needed a Hillary. You better pray to God you don't get stuck with a Melania.
During Trump's first term, the 2016-2020 term, she called out Trump's harsh immigration laws and admits to coming to the US as an undocumented immigrant. In 2020, she didn't support Trump on that election run either. So what started to change? Well, Joe Biden's handling of the vaccine mandates did not suit her. She went full anti-vaxxer in 2021. There were celebrities from both sides who were anti-vaxxers, so no one thought much of it. In 2023, on the song Endless Fashion with Lil Uzi Vert, she quoted the line, "I need a Republican doctor, make my ass great again, MAGA." Again, no one thought much of it, but it will serve as a small hint. 2024 comes. Nicki keeps her endorsement quiet while Donald Trump retook the White House. But 2025, the noise got louder when she started to beef with Gavin Newsom, a Democratic governor from California. Nicki does what she does best and go on Twitter to pick a fight. Gavin didn't respond, except making a hiss reference. Also, her mansion in LA has been swatted a few times, and Gavin did little to address the problem. Nicki and the White House continued to find common ground, particularly with the issue of Christian genocide in Nigeria. 2 days after voicing her concern on the matter, she joined the ambassador of the UN, Mike Waltz, to deliver a speech on the issue. Her speech received mixed results, but she did lose thousands of followers across her social media platforms, and that includes her Instagram being deleted. Back with Gavin Newsom, he made a post throwing his support for trans rights. Nicki went to X and made many posts speaking her disapproval on that Newsom statement. Nicki forgot that most of her fans are part of the LGBTQ community. But one of her biggest grifts came when she teamed up with Erica Kirk. If you don't know, she is the wife of Charlie Kirk, the president of Turning Point, who lost his life to gun violence in September. After Charlie's passing, Erica took over Turning Point USA. December 2025, Nicki appeared at an event Erica was doing, and during the event, she sings her praise for Trump, made anti-trans rhetoric, and calling JD Vance an assassin.
You have amazing role models like our handsome, dashing president. And you have amazing role models like the assassin JD Vance, our vice president. And when I say that,
Unrelated to the event, she mentioned that her next project, there will be a tribute to Charlie on it, and obviously this did not bode well with her own fan base. It's 2026 and Nicki is continuing to humiliate herself. When she and Donald Trump finally linked up at the summit, Nicki got to speak where she mentions that Trump is her #1 fan, true now but not then. After this gathering, Trump gave her a gold card. Whether it's for citizenship or a genuine reward from Trump is debated. But many ask, why the shift? One big reason, more so a theory. Trump has made multiple pardons to rappers like Kodak Black and NBA Youngboy. Nicki could be looking for a pardon for her brother, who is serving time for R-word, and she wants her husband off the offender list. Another reason is that Nicki still hasn't obtained US citizenship despite being a long-term resident. This section is also called her fan base. Where did this beef come in? The answer is pretty simple. Most of Nicki fans consist of two groups, women and the LGBTQ community. Theirs, especially the LGBTQ community, beliefs do not align with MAGA. MAGA has been thoroughly against said community, and with Nicki throwing her support to a base that don't support them, it makes them feel alienated. The aftermath of all this, some of her diehards started to distance themselves from Nicki. Is there a problem with Nicki supporting Trump? Surprisingly, no. Is there something fishy with the timing of all of this? Yes. As seen throughout this presentation, Nicki has beefed with a ton of artists, but most will say the most consequential beef Nicki has involved herself with was with Jay-Z and his company Roc Nation. Like with most beefs, this did not start off awful. When Nicki was getting her start, Jay-Z gave her a cosign. The next year, both artists appeared on the remix to Monster, a song from Kanye's My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy album. But that is where the problems began. Nicki was declared the standout feature of that song, and many inside sources stated that Jay-Z was not pleased that he got upstaged by a female rapper. Fast forward to 2015. Jay-Z's agency and company Roc Nation was still going on strong, but it was about to get bigger. That was because Jay-Z was able to acquire Tidal streaming service. Under the watch of Roc Nation, certain artists would receive a stake in ownership. Minaj was set to be one of those artists to benefit from that stake. It was supposed to be different, fairer, and profitable for the people creating the music. 6 years later, in 2021, Jay-Z sold majority of his stake to Jack Dorsey for around $300 million. After Jay-Z sold Tidal, Nicki revealed that she never got a cent from her time as partial owner. She claims Jay-Z owes her $100 to $200 million. This was the first true claim that Nicki accuses Jay-Z and Roc Nation blackballing her. Since the inception of Roc Nation, the company grew powerful in the music industry. In 2019, Jay-Z teamed up with the NFL and the league to put in charge of compromising the halftime show for the Super Bowl. His first as head saw Shakira and Jennifer Lopez take the stage in Miami. It made sense because Miami had a huge Latino community. Mention this because fast forward to 2024, the Super Bowl was set for New Orleans. Many thought that New Orleans native Lil Wayne would be perfect for the halftime show. But instead, Jay-Z and the NFL opted for Kendrick Lamar, who was in the middle of a victory lap on conquering the rap beef. Nicki was not pleased by the selection of Lamar because she believed that Jay-Z has a vendetta against Lil Wayne since their falling out. One of Roc Nation's biggest prizes was Megan Thee Stallion. She signed with Roc Nation in 2019 when her rap career was just getting started. This beef was already mentioned earlier, but in 2025, Megan and Roc Nation was sued by Emilio Garcia after he claims that Megan forced him to watch her have sex in Europe. Megan tried to get the notion thrown out of court, but a judge ruled that Garcia had enough of a claim to pursue further. Nicki, like she's done often, went on a tweet storm calling it karma. And there's one more entity of this beef, and that is with Desiree Perez. She is the CEO of Roc Nation, but had a rocky past. Back in 1994, she was put on probation for a narcotics charge, but was later sent to prison for violating her probation. In 1996, she booked a young Jay-Z to perform at one of her nightclubs, and this was the start of their business relationship. In 2008, when Roc Nation was launched, Perez became the Chief Operations Officer and co-founder of the company. By 2019, she officially became CEO of Roc Nation. In 2021, exiting President Donald Trump gave her a pardon, clearing her records as Trump noticed how she turned her life around. But back to the story on Desiree Perez. In 2025, Nicki alleges that Desiree Perez was behind the plot to have her home swatted over the past years. Nicki took the time and mentioned her daughter, whom is suing her own mother for trying to put her in a psych ward. In an effort to shade Perez, Nicki throws her support for her daughter. Just in, Jay-Z headlined the Roots Picnic Festival and took the stage with the Roots. During one segment of his performance, he launched into a freestyle and he did not hold back. Among the artists that was caught in the crossfire were Drake, Kanye West, Tory Lanez, and of course, Nicki Minaj. And the line that was directed at Nicki was, "That lady back on that stuff, she sound like she's in love with M. Her kin can't even pick their kid, enough of them." And breaking down this bar, Jay-Z appears to suggest that Nicki is on drugs and her possible love for the MAGA movement, and the kin reference is widely believed to be aimed at her husband, Mr. Petty, with his lines taking shot at his legal troubles. Whether this is a direct response to Nicki's recent comments or broader jab, it marked one of the first and few times Jay-Z publicly responded to Nicki. No one knows how much is true involving Nicki's claims that Roc Nation is sabotaging her behind the scene, but whatever the case may be, Nicki feels that Jay-Z, Roc Nation, Desiree Perez done her dirty in the past, and she just wants the truth to come out. This brings us to the end of this presentation, and let's pose the question, why does Nicki Minaj have beef with so many female rappers, people, and corporations? For one, she demands respect. Once she declared herself the queen of rap, she demands others to kiss her feet to make sure that she's the blueprint, or pink print in this case, for all female rappers since 2010. 2, and more importantly, it's all about her own insecurities in the music industry. Whether it's an upcoming rapper starting to see success, she rarely embraces a new upcomer because she feared that her power is going to be challenged. At the end of the day, it's not about power. It's not about security. It's like what Kendrick said to Drake. It's a long life battle with yourself. This concludes the Nicki Minaj presentation. Thank you for watching.